Okay, as promised to a few of you, and hopefully it helps everybody, I am now going to show you how I would start to lay out my research report. So this is due a week from now on Friday, so hopefully this is the stage that you're all up to. And even if you are past this might just jog your memory of something you may need to include as well. I'll hopefully give you a few tips around Google Docs as well, in that, like some little shortcuts or things that might help you out. So I have just made up my focus question, and obviously I am not going to have big chunks of content and my Google form findings and all that sort of thing in here. You will have that to put in, so I'll direct you where you need to include your different things like that. This is a very broad and somewhat basic example of what your report will look like. The reason for that is that there's 25 of you between our internal and external class, and all of you have chosen a really different focus question and topic, which is absolutely wonderful. It does mean, though, that showing you a specific way to present your information would be very difficult, would be 25 videos. So take what you will from this, maybe use this as a base for your presentation of your report, and add to it as you feel the need to, where you have different sections that you need to add in. So this is very skeletal, very basic way to lay out your report. So you can see at the top that I have put where the report fits into our studies, the school that I'm from, anything when I'm studying that I need to go back to when I'm writing in a document like this, I always put in red. Just so that when I'm scanning back through, I can see where I do need to add something else or change something, or correct something if I didn't know the right thing at the time. So, keep that in mind. That could be a nice study skill that you could use as well. The second thing I'll just talk about, you'll see my name is not here. I could add it here as well, definitely. But one thing that I do want you to be really aware of is adding your name to, or spelling your name correctly in the first place, but adding your name to the header on every single page. The reason for that is when I print off things at this end, or sometimes when you are uploading things to Style, it doesn't have your name on it at all. And this happened with a lot of your other assessments. It takes me a bit of time to find out who it belongs to, and I'd rather spend that time really thoroughly marking your assessment tasks. So one way to do that is just to triple click on this area. Another way is to go to Insert and go to headers and footers and go to header, and that'll open up this document for you. I've actually highlighted mine so it doesn't take away from the writing that's going to be below it, and made it a lighter grey sort of colour. So that will appear on every single page that I use in my document. All right, the other thing in relation to that also is to put page numbers in. That is because all your research reports are going to be quite long. So as part of your research report, you are going to put a table of contents, and I will show you again how to do that really easily in Google Docs. So if there's a table of contents, I need to be able to flick through and look at the page that it's referring to if I'm just wanting to go back to one specific section. So same thing, you can triple click there, or insert and page numbers, and just simply click where you want those page numbers to appear. So both of those need to be in your report, and that's for ease of reading. For the other people that you might share this within your school, or out of school, a lot of your reports will be really great information for your communities to have a look at how you've collated that information, and especially if you've made any suggestions within your report that your community could take up and run with. So that was about headers and page numbers. I've made my header not appear on the first page, and you'll see how to do that when you go into it. You just different first page. So what I would have on my main first page here is just my topic. So this is my focus question, and we've spoken lots about a focus question. So that is my focus question there. This for my little sample one. I would put just that on the front page with this information, so it's very clear about what this is about. All right, on the next page will be your table of contents. The best way to do your table of contents is to make sure all your subheadings, so these are going to be my subheadings that I'm going to use today as your examples. So you need to go through and highlight the subheading it will be just normal text before you do this, so it'll look like that. Go up here to where it says normal text, select it and drop down to one of these headings. It can be any one, I don't mind. You just need to make it one of these headings. Okay, so I've selected heading 2. The thing you can do then, if it is your cup of tea and you want it to look different, it's going to select a really different one so you can see. So I've highlighted, this has the heading 2 as its style, but I want all of them to look like this. So these all have heading 2 because I've gone ahead and done that earlier. So go down to heading 2 and update heading 2 to match, and that'll match this bit that I've got highlighted. So the rest of them will very quickly look the same. Okay, so it's a really easy way of doing that. This is not a font you should use in a report, okay? Reports, it's a professional research report, so you need to stick to things like Arial or any of the ones, now I can't find any, Sans, or those simple text, Times New Roman. Okay, I would suggest Arial or one of those other similar ones. So we'll just change that back now, heading 2 and update to match. Okay, so you can change the color or make them bold to make your, sorry, obviously can't do two things at the same time, to make your report easier to read and easier to find things for the person reading it and marking it. All right, so that is how you do that. The reason that we make them all heading 2 like that is because when we come back up here to this table of contents, it makes life so much easier for us. So if you go to insert, okay, remembering I need to have all of these as headings, I go to insert, table of contents, and select this first one with page numbers, and it brings up anything that I've given this heading to style to. Okay, if you have subheadings, you can add them as heading 3 underneath each of these, and you will have, so your methodology, you will have subheadings where you will have interviews, you will have Google form survey. You're going to tell me how you went about these, so the way that you approached this assessment task in this research report, because remember, this whole term of work is about research and inquiry methods. So this section about methodology is a really important section, explaining to me your understanding of these. So you would talk about which ones are quantitative and which ones are qualitative, which ones are primary, which ones are secondary in terms of your research and your data. So this example here that I'm showing you now is how to put in a subheading within here. So we had Google form surveys, online library searches. All right, I'm going to leave it there for now, but what I would then do is put these as heading 3, okay, which puts them like that. And once you've done that, you can get back up here and update, and it'll put those subheadings in there for you. As you work through, or even just at the end, just make sure that you go to here and go to update, so it changes all these page numbers as you put this information in, and it bumps down the information that you're writing about. Okay, so we're back down into normal text as we write into these sections. I would put, so when I move this down to the next page, I'm pressing Control and Enter, so it takes it to a whole new page. So I've just got my table of contents on this page. All right, so far our title page, table of contents, and moving into the body of our assessment task. This section here, you could put in with the body here, or you could put it under here, the summary. So this is like a little short paragraph about what you found once you've completed your whole lot of your research. What did you find that answers this question? So I will be able to, or whoever's reading it can read this question and then read a little précis or a summary about what you found with your investigation. So that's up to you. You can put that there as well. I'm not going to write big chunks of information here because that doesn't pertain to any of you individually, the focus question that I've done, so that's not a lot of help. What I will do is just show you a few things that a few people got a little bit confused in our last assessment, which was a research task as well. And one of those main things was just about recognising sources and referencing. So as you've gone through, and right back at the start of this term, we made a references folder in your Google Drive. So you should have been dumping things in there all term. And so that will be very easily now just to drag those over into your references list here. You can see, and I've just used a link that I was using for Year 10 Geography, that I've put it in here. The reference, what I would do also here is put in the title. So I would resident proposes. Okay, we get the rest. I would put the whole heading and when I accessed it. Okay, so I'd write the rest of this, the title of this, and when I accessed it, and that would, and also that it's from the Camden Courier. Okay, so Camden Courier goes here. This is very basic referencing. This is not like university standard referencing yet. We're going to work on that more for your major project to make sure that you are nailing that referencing and getting it perfect. Then this is sort of like just a step before that. So we've got the title, where it was from and who wrote it, and if we had it, we could put the author or the journalist's name there and where we accessed it. And so similar to books and websites, putting all that in there. Because we flipped into lockdown, a lot of them will be websites, and I do understand that. All right, in your appendix, and these would all be our heading 3 as well, you would have cut and paste your whole process log. And yes, this document, this Google Doc, is going to be really long. Okay, I want it all in one spot so that I don't miss anything from you when I'm marking it. So it's really important that in this appendix, you copy your whole process log table and you dump it into this Google Doc. Okay, same with your interview questions. These are just your initial questions without any answers, the ones that you propose to your interviewees. Under that will go the summaries of your interviews and the transcripts about what those people said. Okay, and if you had any other really large documents that you reference throughout your task, this is where you would put them as well so that you could make reference to them up in this section of your text. So further to that, when you are copying an image in, and I am just going to insert one through Google Docs, which is not actually what I particularly recommend to you, but it's more about saving time for this video. Just going to search the web. The reason why I don't recommend this is because it doesn't give us the source. No, I shouldn't do it that way. I should show you exactly what I mean. Okay, Aboriginal dance. So I'm just looking for a picture now to put on my research task. It might just be that I'm putting it into my introduction or into the body. So I'm just looking here at something that would be reliable. So we've got one here, indigenous.gov, that would be reliable. This one as well. So I think that you're developing your skills a lot in terms of selecting what's going to be reliable and what might not be so much. So I'm going to look at this picture here. I'm going to copy the picture, but I'm also going to open up the website because there's a number of things I need to do if I'm going to use a particular website and an image from a website. So I would go back in here, and in my results, I'm going to paste this image. Next thing I need to do is give the image a caption. So assuming that I've got other images up the top here in my text, I'm going to make this image 2. Just see if it has a caption here. So it doesn't, so I'll just say young Aboriginal boy, young Aboriginal male participating in dance. Okay, followed by the source, which is going to be indigenous.gov.au. It's really important. You can't just pop an image in here and just think, oh, well, that looks really pretty. I'll put that in. It looks great. There's a number of things you need to do. So you need to make sure it has a caption. Usually I would make the caption italic and a bit smaller than the other text that I've used. So we'll pop that in. Because I've used this, anything I use or any information I get, I need to include in my references. So I would copy that and I'm popping this in there. I accessed it today, so I would write that in there. Access the 27th. And I know this is, some of you know how to do this well, some of you are still working on this. So if there's bits that you don't need to know, by all means, fast forward them in this Screencastify. That is fine. Just wanting to tick all boxes for everybody. Excuse me. The title of the page that I got it from. To make sure you don't bring in the formatting from that, go paste without formatting, and it'll bring up just the words for that. And it doesn't actually have an author, so it's just this body, this organisation that's put it up. So I would be happy with that. When I'm marking it, you just tab anything below the first section, just tab it in like that. So it's really easy to see the first section. And this needs to be indigenous.gov.au. It's just about you need to think about if I need to access this. Sorry, just let me type this. .gov.au. The main point when you're referencing is if I need to find the information again, you need to give me enough information to be able to do that. Okay, if there's not enough information in there for the reader to be able to find where you've found that information and read it again, then you haven't put enough in your reference list. So please just keep that in mind as a little tip and trick about referencing. You can't just give someone the name of the book and not the author or the publisher or anything like that, or the pages that you used. You need to give them enough information to find that exact information that you used. So if you keep that in mind when you're doing your reference list, that will stand you in good stead for that. I'm just going to bump the appendix, so Control Enter down onto its own new page. References are similar. They will always sit on their own page, so Control Enter, they will sit there. The rest of this stuff will, depending on how it ends up, once you've populated it all with all your awesome information that you've all found, you can then see how it fits on the pages and do that as well if you want to start a new page for each heading. So like I said, these are very broad headings. If you're finding that your information doesn't fit under there perfectly, you may like to use these inquiry questions as your headings instead. That's entirely up to you. They're there more just to get your brain flowing and to try and take all your bits of information and put them under a heading, just trying to collate. And that big word for this unit of work, that's synthesizing. So synthesizing our information is one of the main things that I'm looking for as well. So taking all your primary and secondary data and your quantitative and qualitative data and being able to use it and intermingle it all together to be able to give me a response to your focus question. So I wouldn't want to see just here's what this person said in the interview, here's what I found on the internet. I want you to tell me how those things mix together. This is what this person said in my interview, and it matches really well with what I found on the internet, but it doesn't really sit well and line up with my Google form and my survey responses, which actually said this. So all those things should be happening and all mixing together in one paragraph for each sort of section of your assessment task. If you're working through and you want me to have a quick look and see how you're going, can you please shoot me an email and tell me to jump into your Google Drive? If you're happy and you don't want me to look at it before you hand it in, that is absolutely fine as well. Me reading over a draft of your stuff isn't a prerequisite for handing it in. So please don't feel like I need to read over it for you, but the offer's there if you need me to. So please be really clear as well, though. This is sort of a second way or initial way if you're really struggling with fitting your information under these headings that I've given you here. Conclusion, I'm going to write here or recommendation, because I know that a lot of you have come up with some really brilliant almost like resources for your community. So your research reports are actually going to be live documents that your community can use your research findings to maybe come up with some new resources and programs for your community. So conclusional recommendations will fit really well there too. Hopefully that has made it a little bit clearer for you. So you'll see now if I come in here and update, it changes the pages where everything appears. Okay, so it's a research report. It does need a table of contents. So make sure you get in and practice applying those styles to your different headings and then producing your table of contents on its own page. All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to reading all your reports on Friday. And like this week, next week doesn't have any classwork assigned. This is the final big push for a really large assessment task. So there's nothing for you to do apart from a lot, which is finish off this task and bring all those wonderful bits of information together in one place. As I said, I'm only an email or a text away, so please jump on either of those and let me know how I can help you. What I will do as well is share my document with you. Oh, that's the other thing I need to say in here. Sorry, one final thing, then you can go. On this, in reference to the images or captions or anything that you put in, so you might have a lot of figures in here. What I mean by that, like figure 1, figure 2 might be a graph of your Google survey showing what percentage of people said what in response to your survey. And so you need to be able to put that figure in, which could be a graph, and then make reference to it. So if you don't reference the images you put in, they shouldn't be there. So what I mean by that is in your paragraph, you could write something like the hold that thought. Young people on Dungari country are looking to do you know what? I'm going to pause it, finish this sentence, so you'd have to listen to me and ah, and then I'll start the recording again. Okay, so it's still a fairly clunky sentence, but I just want to give you the example of how to reference the images. So you've labeled this as image 2. You must be able to reference it in your text somewhere. If you can't, it shouldn't be in there. You can't just put pictures in because they're pretty. Okay, you need to be able to talk about the image or the graph or whatever it may be. You need to be able to talk about it in your text. Otherwise, it doesn't have a place in your report. So it could include something as simple as young Dungari people in the Macleay are looking to reconnect with culture and join traditional dance groups like the scene pictured in image 2 below. Okay, it can be that simple, but you must be able to talk about it in your report if you're going to put a picture in. I will share this document with you, so keep an eye out for that. So when you finish, you'll come back up and put your word count in there. And do you know what? Because I'm not 100% happy with that, what I would do as a Year 11 student, I would make it red to know that, okay, that's the information I want in there, but I want to come back and, massage that so it sounds a little bit better later. But I want to keep writing to see where this next little section goes, and that could help me come back and fix that up. So the fact that I've made it red would sort of remind me to come back and have a look at it when I've finished, because remember, all this is going to be full of information. All right, I will share this with you right now, and I'll send you an email with the link to this document. Okay, all right, I will hopefully talk to you all soon. See ya.